Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Hockey Discussions Live, Fantasy Hockey Edition. This is episode number 5, where we are going to do a per-team deep dive. Who's on each team's rosters, and how are they looking? We are just under 2 months away from the start of the 2025-2026 NHL season, where the first game will take place on Tuesday, October 7th, between the Chicago Blackhawks and Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. Now, that game is going to be something. I'm excited to see Bedard, and I'm excited to see the Florida Panthers after the summer break. How will they head into the new season? I personally think they might play it a little easy through the regular season and then really turn on the Jets come the playoffs, because I think you can stick that team in a wild card spot, the second wild card spot in the East, and they would still claw their way up to the Stanley Cup final somehow. So I'm excited to see the season, but nonetheless, let's get into the topic today. We're going to review each team in a 4-man team league team rosters, and I'll start with my team, the Chumley Funhouse, and we're going to go player by player, just talk through why the selection I made, and we're also going to go through and discuss how the overall team dynamic looks like, and maybe a little bit on where I'm looking to add or change up my team. So I'm going to pull up the draft recap here, just take you through pick by pick on who I selected, and then we'll get into how my overall team feels. So if you haven't been around or been living under a rock, my keepers for the season are as followed: Nathan MacKinnon, I have Kirill Kaprizov, Leon Draisaitl, David Pastrnak, and Rasmus Dahlin were my 5 keepers. And then with the first overall selection, I selected Philip Forsberg, followed by in round 2, Mackenzie Weegar and Jack Hughes. Round 3, I selected nobody as I traded my pick off to move up in the draft. And then in round 4, I selected my starting goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky. That is where I stopped in the previous episode, letting you know on who I selected, but now we'll get into the remainder of my picks there in round 5. So in round 5, I selected Jesper Bratt. Looking at the open amount of players pool, I knew I already had Jack Hughes. I really wanted to see that power play production and doubling up on New Jersey. I was happy with the way their power play looked last year, and I think getting a full season with Hughes and Bratt in Sheldon Keefe's system might produce fairly well this year, so I was happy to take Bratt there in round 5. After Bratt, I selected from your Buffalo Sabres, Alex Tuch. Now, Tuch was a bit early, I feel like, of a selection for me in round 6, but I was eager to pick up Tuch after I saw Thompson go, because I knew I wanted one more Sabre with Rasmus Dahlin. And Tuch, I think this year, now with JJ Peterka in Utah and Dylan Cousins in Ottawa, he's going to get power play time this year, which we didn't see a lot of Tuch on the power play. And I think moving Tuch up to the power play is going to give him exposure to Rasmus Dahlin, to Tage Thompson, and he's going to reap the benefit from it. Last year, Tuch only had 11 power play points, but in 2022-23, when he was playing with Tage Thompson, he racked up 80 points in the regular season and 20 power play points. And I think I'd like to see Tuch return to that mid to low 20 range in power play point totals. But outside of that, I know Tuch's a machine when it comes to shots, hits, and blocks. He led the whole NHL in forwards and blocks last year. I think he's going to do it again. And also, he's a shorthanded machine. He'll probably get some shorthanded goals from me this season. So overall, he fits my team dynamic. I was happy with the pickup, and I think he's going to rock with me the whole season this year. Following Tuch in round 7, I selected Tom Wilson in round 7, which, if you listened to my episode 2 episodes ago, I said I don't see Wilson making it past round 2, let alone round 3, and he made it all the way to 7, and I was able to pick up Tom Wilson. Now, I already talked about how I think his point totals are going to decrease, but I still think we're going to see Wilson take an elevated role next year with Washington, continue to be a leading force in that team, continue to hit anything that moves, and I'll get some points from that total. Following Wilson, I double tapped into round 8 with Alexander Barkov. Goes without saying, that was a great pickup. I think that round, not many folks were looking at Barkov before. You saw names like Sebastian Aho, you saw names like Macklin Celebrini, Roman Josi go before Barkov, where I think if you get a full season of Alex Barkov, who has not played one in some time, the last time Barkov even came close to a full season or played a full season, came close in the 70 ranges was in 23-24. His last full 82 game season in 2018 team resulted in 4 points shy of 100. So if I get him for a full season, he's going to be a beast. But like I said, it depends how hard Florida's really going to try in the regular season next year. But then again, I think guys like Barkov really don't have an off switch in turning game time on and off. Following up that selection, I had Jason Robertson in round 9, I believe. Yeah, round 9. And then we picked up, that was round 9. Round 9, we had Jason Robertson, which once again fell. I think Robertson's going to have a much better year this year. He was injured for the first half of the year. He really didn't kick into high gear till about halfway through. And Robertson put up 80 points 2 years in a row now, but I'd love to get him back up to the 110-point season he had in 2022. And if anything, I'd like to see him finish closer to the mid-90s. But I was happy to pick up Robertson there in round 9. Round 10, I selected my first defenseman outside of my 2 elites, and that's Brandon Montour. Fine selection. I didn't love it, but I understood I needed to get a D off the board as they were moving fast, and I had to get in on Montour. He's somebody I'm happy to have on the team for now, but we'll see how the year progresses and see if he's able to potentially get moved. He is on the block probably for me if there's anybody. Montour's out there, as I'd be happy to hear offers on Brandon Montour, but if not, I like to have him there as my third bestie in the team. Then in round 11, we picked up our first goaltender outside of Andre Vasilevsky, and that is Mackenzie Blackwood. I had Mackenzie Blackwood last season. Mackenzie played very well for me. I enjoyed how he came into Colorado. Having a goalie on Colorado like Blackwood too, he's going to play a lot of games, and he's going to win a lot of games because Colorado's going to be a force next year. I pair him up with McKinnon, so when McKinnon wins, I win because I have McKinnon and Blackwood, so I'm getting some good points there. Then I picked a household favorite of mine, Matt Boldy. Matt Boldy had a great production for me. He pairs so well with Kaprizov on the power play, and Boldy, I think, is really going to have an elevated role in Minnesota, and each year we continue to see his development, and he's really turning into a force in the NHL. So Boldy, incredible shot production and great point totals too, with a very high ceiling, I think, with Boldy. Then in round 12, I was able to, round 13. I'm trying to keep track here because my rounds are all off on ESPN. Round 13, we picked up Nazem Kadri. Pure reason for that selection was shot totals. Kadri shoots the puck at everything that moves. 279 points last year, just under 400 fantasy points. I'm expecting something similar for him again. He likes to shoot the puck, and I like to score fantasy points, so we get along well. Pick number 15, 14, I think. I'm all over the place. I'm going to start doing this. I'm just going to say my next pick. Pick 14, we picked up Travis Konechny. Once again, taking a risk with this guy. I didn't have him last year, but he had a pretty good season, and I'm excited to see what Michkov does with Zegras and Konechny as well next year. So seeing Matvei Michkov step and see how that elevates the team, I'm excited to see it. So, and they got a new coach there as well, right? So we'll see a different type of Philadelphia Flyers next year and see if Konechny elevates his role there. Then I picked up Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala was picked up, once again, likes to shoot the puck, throw the body. He put up upwards of 50 points last year. I think he'll do the same. I think Fiala's a sleeper in most leagues. He'll go fairly to the middle round, so I was happy to pick him up. And then I took a risk. Thomas Harley, I'm banking on he gets power play 1 deployment in Dallas, and if he does, I think the ceiling's the limit for Harley. He'll work very well with Robertson and very well with Rantanen, so having Robertson and Harley together will allow me to get some double points on a pretty lethal power play, I'm hoping, in Dallas. Then, this was one of my more favorite selections. This was in round 17. I was able to pick up Tomas Hertl, which I think Tomas Hertl is going to play fantastic alongside Mitch Marner next year. I think they're going to play in the same line and skate together, and they're going to keep Marner hopefully on line 2 with Hertl, but we'll see. But I hope Hertl plays well. Nonetheless, they'll be in the power play together. So Hertl in Vegas, I'm excited to see. And then that Vegas power play is a lethal force. So having Hertl and Theodore together will be really nice. Then I picked up Matthew Nyes. Once again, a bet this season for me. I think he takes an elevated role in Toronto, and he's going to pair well in that power play. I think Nyes takes a pretty good step this season. Last season, he had a little over 50 points. I think he was just shy of, he was just shy of 60. I think he ended in 58 if I pull that up here. Let me see. 1 second. Bear with me. Matthew Nyes had 58 points last season, so he had a 20-point jump from 23 to 24 with 2 less games played. I could see him doing that again, and Nyes actually getting into the mid-70s to low 80s next season. But he also hits, and he likes to get some penalty minutes and block some shots here and there. So I think Matthew Nyes will be a good pickup for the season. I'm excited to see him play. And then I moved down to Bo Horvat. Bo Bo Horvat was our third top rated forward when it comes to power play points, shots on goal, and game-winning goals. So I liked Bo Horvat here, just taking the bet that with the Islanders, he continues to produce. He had 350 points last season with fantasy. I think he can do something similar. And then I took Darnell Nurse. I had to get somebody from Edmonton. I like Darnell's output with peripherals, and I think he continues to elevate his game as the season goes on in regards to blocking shots. But it's always funny seeing his picture pop up in the draft because of the bald head. Next, we took a rookie. I knew I had to take somebody, and I ended up putting my chips on Matvei Michkov. I'm excited to see, like I said, his role in Philly next year, how he produces with the new coach, and what step he makes. He had a really good rookie season. I feel like we saw a lot of his highlights. He was really fun to watch, and I think those fun players team seemed to really find their game. So he had 63 points. I'd love to see him get to mid-70s next year if I could. Might be bullish thinking, but maybe 75 from Michkov. But it could be fun and see what chemistry him and Zegras have together. Then we picked up Rakdo Gudis. The main pickup there was basically just to get somebody who's going to block shots, somebody who's going to get in the lane, and somebody who's just going to play hard for me. And I wanted a piece of Anaheim. I wanted somebody on Anaheim because I think Anaheim has a surprising season this season. And Gudis taking that veteran role in Anaheim, I think will allow him to get some ice time and hopefully some crucial blocks from me there. I'm not expecting him to score goals or get power play deployment. He had 16 points last season, or even really shoot the puck. I'm expecting him to stay in the lane, and the nights where he's getting 0 points, 0 goals, 0 assists, he's at least getting some penalties and blocking some shots, and that's what I'm hoping for there. Then I picked up Drake Batherson, which was my sleeper selection. I think Batherson in round 28 of 31 rounds was a good pickup. Batherson will continue to rise in Ottawa. He's going to continue to get those power play points in the power play deployment. He had almost 400 points last season, so a guy with 400 points, picking him up in round 28 is never a bad deal to have. So I quickly picked up Batherson and then moved in the Shea Theodore. He should be at the point position for Vegas. If anything doesn't change, it should be that, but we never know what happens in camp as well as leading the season. So Shea Theodore in 29. Then round 30, I wrapped up my goaltending, and I wanted someone who's going to make a lot of saves, and I picked the 6th top goalie when it comes to saves and shots received last year, and that's Sam Montembeault from Montreal. And I picked Montembeault because I'm expecting Montreal to actually grow this year. I think there's a lot of hype around Demidov, around Hudson, around Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky. These guys are solidified. I've also seen Patrick Laine training a ton on the ice. I don't know if I'm just getting a lot of the recommended videos, but Laine's everywhere that I look, and I think he's going to have a big season, Laine there on Montreal if he stays healthy. So Montembeault was a welcomed selection for me. He had a lot of starts last season, 60, so he was up there with Vasilevsky and Hellebuck, who are leading the way with 63. So Montembeault is going to be a solidified number 1 in Montreal. Let's just hope I don't get torn apart with goals against when he does play. And then lastly, this was the top rated forward. He was forward number 16. He was player 16 in the entire league for us last year. Kiefer Sherwood, the hit machine. He had 400 something hits, setting an NHL record last year, which gave him 428 points in fantasy. He had pretty good output. I think he had almost 40 points last season too. So between getting 40 points, he got 40 points in the nose last year. He had 400 hits. He had 78 games played. I think that's somebody who's just going to get you points on a night where he doesn't score. He's still going to put up 6 fantasy points because he's hitting everybody. So I had to take a swing at Sherwood, pick him up in round 31, just add him to the roster, sit him on the bench if he gets cold, but just having him in the lineup, knowing that I could plug him in somewhere and get me points if I start to see a pattern out of him where every game he plays, he's scoring at least 3 or 4, or rarely have any 0 games. He'll find his way into the lineup a time or two. So I was happy to pick up Kiefer Sherwood. So that's the entire team. If I pull it up and just look at the team overall, I ended up rocking, I think, 7 defensemen with the team, and then a good amount more forwards than defensemen. And I do that on purpose because I think, like I said, your bottom 3D are pretty irregularly switched out. Like you're changing them to the wire. I'm going to move Gudis with Nurse and then move Nurse down to put Theodore in, and then I may work the wire and pick up Rasmus Anderson one week once he finally gets traded. You never know what's going to happen, right? So I think the defensive position gives you a lot of leeway. I only picked up 3 goalies too. Other teams picked up 4. that's another one where goalies are so hot and cold. We can come out of the rating and Andre Vasilevsky can get hurt in game 1, or Montembeault can go on a 0-12 streak to start the season, and I can turn off of him and go to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Buffalo, who's getting 40 shots a game against him and off to a hot start. So goalies, I was fine picking 3. I wasn't going to waste a draft selection on a middle-of-the-pack goaltender to get 4. I was happy taking 3 of them. And then one of my quicker moves as well is I went and moved Jack Hughes to IR after the draft and went in and put a bid in on Gabriel Landeskog and won the bid and picked up Landeskog. And my idea here is Landeskog should be playing and will be playing power play 1 with McKinnon. If I can just have him in some games when Colorado is a hot week and I can pair Landeskog and McKinnon together, I'll take that. I think McKinnon will hit. We saw him hit in the playoffs. He will get to the front of the net. He'll play a hard brand of hockey, and I'm hoping that along the way he attributes some fantasy points. So I quickly picked up Landeskog to add to the team. I'm happy with that addition. There's a few more guys I have my eye on the waiver wire, but there's no moves I'm willing to make in terms of drops, because you're not going to drop somebody who hasn't played a game yet because you don't know how the season's going to look for them, and I'm real happy with everyone on my team right now. In regards to additions, so I haven't sat down and looked at every team yet from a trade perspective or trying to get some movement early. There's some areas of my team where I think I need some help, but there's nowhere that's glaring to me. So I'm willing to maybe see how the first couple weeks go and then start to work the phones on the trade line to move if need be. But I'm happy to keep where I am right now because I don't see a glaring hole in the roster in my eyes. So happy with the selections. That's how the team looks. So overall, we should be looking pretty good heading into next year. I think we gathered up a lot of the guys who produced last year who are ranked highly in fantasy. Now it's just a matter of can these guys repeat the season they had in 2024-25 into 2025-26. So thank you all for watching. That was the team recap for CFH. We will recap the other teams in the next episode. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you there.